I would like to welcome you to our 13th annual awards banquet here tonight. As we all know, law enforcement's image has taken a hit nationwide over the last few years, and that makes tonight a little extra special as we're here to recognize the dedication and professionalism of the men and women of this department. We come together tonight filled with pride as we recognize outstanding achievements committed by our officers, detectives, and telecommunicators from within the Owensboro Police Department. We're also going to recognize individuals from outside the department that have lent a hand to us as well. At this time, I'd like to recognize our elected officials and special guests who are with us this evening and have shown continued support for the department. We've got Mayor Tom Watson and his wife Barbara, Mayor Pro Tem Bob Glenn, Commissioner Larry Condor and his wife Rosemary, Commissioner Jay Vallada and his wife Lynn. We have Judge David Payne. He's here somewhere. He is. The County Attorney Claude Porter's with us tonight. Commonwealth Attorney Bruce Kegel and his wife Sylvia. City Manager Bill Parrish and his wife Vicki. We have a special thanks tonight to Sheriff Keith Kane and his fiancée Charlotte's here with him tonight. We would like to thank the Sheriff's Department for taking care of the streets for us for a little while so the afternoon shift officers could come in and enjoy the meal and enjoy the ceremony. So again, thank you, Sheriff, for what you do for us. Also now I want to recognize the Citizens Academy Alumni Board. But what I'm going to do, I want all Citizens Academy alumni to stand up and be recognized, please. For those of you that don't know, the Citizens Academy alumni, they do a lot for our department. They help us out with the Citizens Academy that happens, we're starting one August the 4th. It'll run 14 weeks. They're there every night to assist us during the academy. They help us at the barbecue festival, working street closures. They have built a shelter at our range. So they do a lot for the department, and we appreciate everything they do, and we're happy to have them here with us this evening. I also would like to recognize the Crime Stoppers Board if they would stand to be recognized, please. Thank you, Sam. Thanks for coming. Also, if we have any explorers in the building, did any of our explorers show up tonight? Thank you guys and girls for what you do. They help us out at the barbecue festival, help us at Police Awareness Day, and we really appreciate what they do for us too. Again, I sincerely appreciate everyone's attendance here this evening and your continued support of the Owensboro Police Department. And at this time, I'd like to call Detective Art Maglinger up here for an invocation and presentation of the colors.
Please stand for the posting of the colors presented by the Owensboro Police Department Honor Guard, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Before we eat and pray, just wanted to go over a few things in order. There's actually 2 buffet lines over here, and there's actually a buffet line for the kids this year too. So the command staff would like all the on-duty officers to eat first, and then we'll just start from front to back. And please bow with me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings, and thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for this time of fellowship as we honor the brave men and women of this department. Just thank you for their families that also support them in the community in order to do their job. And I just pray that you'll bless this fellowship and this food to the nourishment bodies. In Jesus' name, amen.
Now, the other day when the chief said he'd like for me to speak and be brief, so I said I'd be glad to. So I started one of my grandkids showed me how to YouTube stuff about policemen, so I'm scanning this thing. And I found a little presentation by, who here is old enough to remember Paul Harvey? Okay, good, not by myself. And I know the chief told me at one point in time, or until, a lot of times, that you would play what he was saying. And if you're like me, you walk in, you see your friends, and you really don't pay any attention to what's going on above the head. So I asked him if it'd be all right if I could read what Paul Harvey read. I mean, he narrated about a police officer. So if you'll bear with me, I'd like to read this to you because it meant so much to me. I said, even if you already know it, the opportunity for me and our commission and our city staff to share this with you is very important to me. So the title of the narrative is The Police Officer. A police officer is a composite of what I suppose all people are, and I guess that means they are a mingling of part saint and part sinner. But I believe that actually means that they are exceptional, they are unusual, and they are not commonplace. And to be clear, buried under the fraud is the fact. And the fact is that less than 0.5% ever dishonor the uniform. And that's a better average than you'll find among clergymen. So what is a police officer? Above all others, they are the most wanted, a strangely shameless creature. They are called sir to their face and pig or worse behind their back. They have to be such a diplomat to be able to settle differences between individuals so that each of them think that they have won. If they are neat, they are considered conceited. If they are careless, they're a bum. If they are pleasant, then they are a flirt. And if they are not pleasant, they're considered a grouch. They must make instantaneous decisions that would require months, no offense intended, for a lawyer to make. But if they hurry, then they're careless. If they are deliberate, then they're described as lazy. They must be first on the scene of an accident, infallible with a diagnosis, must be able to start breathing, stop bleeding, apply a splint, and above all, make sure the victim goes home without a limp. They must know every gun, draw on the run, and hit where it doesn't hurt. They must be able to whip two people twice their size and half their age, and do it without damaging their uniform and without being called brutal. If they hit you, you're a coward. If you hit them, then you're a bully. The police officer, from a single human hair, must be able to describe the crime, the weapon, the criminal, and where the criminal is hiding. And if they catch him, they're just lucky. And if they don't, they're called a dunce. They run files and write reports till their eyes ache to make a case against a shameless felon who will get dealed out by a shameless shamus. A police officer must be a minister, a social worker, a diplomat, a tough guy or gal, as well as a gentle soul. And above all, they must be a genius, because they have to figure out how to feed their family on a police officer's salary. God bless you and thank you for serving.
Our first award is the Civilian Service Award. It's given for the performance of an outstanding act of service by a civilian for saving a human life or substantially aiding a police officer in his or her duty. The next recipient is Jeff Johnson. Mr. Johnson has donated his time to help with the juvenile diversion program, and he's an integral part of Camp Cops. From preparing food to leading kids to creating Pinewood Derby cars, he's been instrumental to the success of the camp and other youth programs over the last 17 years. Our next civilian service recipient is Miss Eva Ray. On June 7, 2017, officers responded to a call of a possible jumper in downtown Owensboro. The subject was standing on the roof ledge of a building overlooking a busy street. Soon after an officer accessed the roof, he was joined by Ms. Ray, the distressed subject's probation officer. Ray had worked with the individual for some time. Throughout the duration of the incident, she was directly behind the officer negotiating with the subject. Her actions and knowledge of the distressed subject's history were instrumental in the safe resolution of the incident. All right, now our final civilian service award is for Mr. Magnum Webster and Mr. Chavez Powell. On March 12, 2017, officers responded to a local business for a strong-armed robbery. An elderly female had been attacked and her purse stolen. Mr. Webster and Mr. Powell were instrumental in observing the suspect's movements and following him to an apartment on a nearby street. They were able to give police the exact location of the suspect, and after obtaining a search warrant based on their information, officers were able to locate the suspect inside and apprehend him without incident. For the Exceptional Service Award, Officer Rick Latanzio. On July 19, 2016, Officer Latanzio was one of several officers working a local basketball tournament when a large fight broke out. During the altercation, one of the participants dropped a handgun. This gun was picked up by another younger subject who was near the altercation as officers began arriving. Officer Latanzio had witnessed the subject pick up the gun. Foreseeing how this could turn into a potentially life-threatening event, Officer Latanzio began rapidly talking to the subject and was able to retrieve the gun before the situation became more serious. This accomplishment occurred under highly adverse conditions with hazard to the officer. For the Exceptional Service Award, Officer Mike Matthews. On December 4, 2016, Officer Matthews responded to a call of shots fired. He was the first officer on the scene of a very complex and stressful call where two people were found outside suffering from gunshot wounds. Officer Matthews provided CPR to one victim until EMS arrived. Although the victim ultimately died from his wounds, Officer Matthews' attempt to save his life in this very stressful situation should be commended. For the Exceptional Service Award, Sergeant Michael Staples, Detective Chris Green, Officer Anthony Williams, Officer Kelsey Skaggs, Officer Luke Hardy, Officer Nathan Godeke, and Officer Salvador Castro, and Sergeant Jeff Roby. On January 28, 2017, officers and detectives responded to a call of a deceased subject discovered hidden among debris in an outside setting. The decedent was quickly identified, and within 8 hours of the discovery, two subjects responsible for his death were in custody. Through interviews by detectives and the scene protection and evidence gathering of patrol officers, a homicide occurring more than a week previous was solved within 8 hours of discovery of the crime. Our next award is the Meritorious Service Award. This award is presented for a highly unusual accomplishment by an officer under highly adverse conditions and with some degree of hazard to life or limb of the officer. The Meritorious Service Award is awarded to Officer Mike Roby. On April 19, 2017, Officer Roby was flagged down regarding a man down near a brush fire. Officer Roby located an elderly male subject laying next to a lawnmower. The lawnmower, nearby brush, and the man were all on fire. Officer Roby scaled a 6-foot fence, rushed to the man, and pulled him from the fire while smothering the fire on the victim's clothes. During this incident, Officer Roby suffered a minor burn to his hand. Although the victim later succumbed to his injuries, Officer Roby is recognized for his prompt and alert action with hazard to himself. The next award is the Life Saving Award. This award is given for the act of saving or prolonging a human life by the officer through the prompt and alert action of the officer. So for the Life Saving Award, Officer Michael Matthews and Officer Larry Jones. On June 8, 2017, Officers Matthews and Jones responded to a call of a cardiac arrest. Officers were advised the subject was suffering from a possible stroke and he was not breathing. Officers arrived quickly and began CPR, and after a minute of CPR, the subject regained a pulse. The actions of the officers prolonged the life of the subject until more advanced care could arrive. For the Life Saving Award, Officer Rick Latanzio. On June 7, 2017, officers responded to a call of a possible jumper in downtown Owensboro. The subject was standing on the roof ledge of a building overlooking a busy street. Officer Latanzio, although not dispatched to the call, responded to the scene. Once he arrived, he was able to gain access to the roof, and he initiated face-to-face contact with the distraught subject. Officer Latanzio was able to utilize his training and experience to build a rapport with the subject and convince her to step down from the ledge. For the Life Saving Award, Officer Kelsey Skaggs. On December 4th, 2016, Officer Skaggs responded to a call of shots fired. She arrived with other officers to a very complex and stressful scene where 2 people were suffering from gunshot wounds. Officer Skaggs immediately provided first aid to one of the subjects. Medical personnel at the hospital advised that had Officer Skaggs not provided the care she did, the subject likely would have succumbed to his injuries. For the Life Saving Award, Officer Mike Sanner and Officer Donald Hayes. On April 7, 2017, Officer Sanner and Officer Hayes responded to a medical emergency where a male subject was not breathing after complications from a drug overdose. Officers arrived and performed CPR until he began breathing on his own. Once fire and EMS arrived, more advanced care was provided and the subject lived through his overdose. And finally, one last life-saving award for Officer Cody Cliff. Officer Cliff responded with other officers to the Glover Cary Bridge on May 31st, 2017 for a welfare check. Officers found a distraught subject standing on the ledge next to the railing. While other officers had the subject distracted, Officer Cliff was able to approach unnoticed and grab the subject, pulling him away from the railing, preventing the subject from possibly jumping off the bridge. All right, it's now time to recognize the Explorer, Telecommunicator, Detective, and Officer of the Year. This is the highest possible award that can be earned by personnel at the Owensboro Police Department. The recipients are selected by the Chief of Police for the demonstration of an exceptionally high degree of dedication and professionalism throughout the year that shows a continuing commitment to the department and sets worthwhile standards for fellow peers to follow. So for the Explorer of the Year, Explorer Michael Sorrells. Explorer Sorrells Explorer Sorrells has been an integral part of the Explorer program. His dedication and attention to detail show in every task that he's given. Michael goes above and beyond what is asked of him, and he always does it with a smile. He's always the first to arrive and the last to leave any event. He not only represents himself in a positive manner, but also the Owensboro Police Department and Explorer Post 766. For Telecommunicator of the Year, Telecommunicator Jessica Pierce. Jessica Pierce has been serving the Owensboro and Davis County community since December of 2013. She's exhibited exemplary skills and ability and is very detail-oriented. She has an outstanding customer service attitude, and she consistently goes above and beyond her normal work expectation and volunteers to assist with active calls and callbacks in order to help her fellow telecommunicators. Telecommunicator Pierce cast a positive reflection of herself and the Owensboro-Davis County Dispatch Center by demonstrating a positive attitude, being a team player, and always striving to go above and beyond to complete the task at hand. For Detective of the Year, Detective Art Maglinger. Detective Maglinger is a 13-year veteran of the Owensboro Police Department. He's a member of the department's emergency response team, serves as the department's chaplain, and has served as a detective since 2011. Detective Maglinger has become a top-notch detective with the ability to work any major case and has since become a leader within the unit. Detective Maglinger successfully investigated major crimes which involve countless hours of interviews, processing and evaluating evidence, serving and executing numerous warrants, and following up with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. His dedication and expertise were utilized during the successful investigation of a homicide case culminating in 2 indictment warrants for murder. His work performance and his conduct in his personal life reflect favorably on the Owensboro Police Department. And our last award for the evening is for Officer of the Year. And this year's Officer of the Year is Officer Rick Latanzio. Officer Latanzio is an 18-year veteran of the Owensboro Police Department. He served in several capacities, which include patrol officer, street crimes unit detective, and police training officer. For the last 3 years, Officer Latanzio has been assigned as the school resource officer for the Owensboro Independent School System. He's done an excellent job of fostering relationships with the youth of our community and is often called upon by officers and detectives for assistance in gathering information or identifying persons of interest in cases. Officer Latanzio is always thinking outside the box to find ways to serve the public in a positive manner. He's been instrumental in the implementation of Operation Santa, which provides food to Owensboro-Davis County seniors during the holiday season. He's also put together the Madden football tournament, which allowed for the possible positive interaction of our area youth and the police department during a video football competition. He's a role model for our community's youth as well as his coworkers.
Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. I'm sure the men and women of this police department appreciate it. I appreciate all the support from family members, the commission, the mayor, the sheriff. A special thanks to Bill Parrish. As you all know, I report directly to him, so if he ain't satisfied with me, then, you know, hey, it gets a little shaky at times. But I've enjoyed a lot of support from him in the 5 years that I've been chief, and you know, I owe you a debt of gratitude. Thank you. I was sitting up here thinking as I was passing out awards and stuff, and I was holding the Officer of the Year award, and I thought, is this the only way I will ever be Officer of the Year, is just touching the plaque to give to somebody else? You know? But in all seriousness aside, you know, we deal with a lot. I mean, you heard some very heroic efforts from our officers, the acts that they committed. I mean, things that we can only hope to see in movies. But these officers, male, female, they deal with it on a daily basis. And the courage and bravery that they show, the commitment that they show to this community, you know, and the acts of heroism is just amazing. You know, we are blessed in this county to have law enforcement via whether they wear brown uniforms, gray, or blue. We've got great officers, and our community is better because of it. So if you would give everyone a round of applause. And I'll say that, you know, we deal with this all the time. Every year it comes up, officers, you know, different awards and recognition. I'm telling you, if a person puts on a uniform and a gun and a badge and goes out and serves the public, everybody deserves Officer of the Year. And, yeah. So, you know, I won't belabor this because I don't have a prepared speech or anything, but, you know, I just wanted everybody to know that I certainly appreciate what you do each and every day, coming to work and serving the community, leaving your families at home. I know wives, husbands, significant others, they don't know, they're nervous and scared. I'm telling you, my mother, when I first joined the police department 26 years ago, she would call me every day and say, "Baby, why don't you come home and get another job?" You know, she didn't want me working in the police force. But today she's proud because she knows that I have a lot of strong men and women, you know, to support me. And you all not only make yourselves look good and this community look good, but you make me look good. So thank you and God bless.